What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, shout out to the brother Gizmo for the donation to the channel via the Cash App. Salute to you for showing love. All right, so let's talk about Brett Favre. All right, because Brett Favre has definitely been in the news over the past several years, and not necessarily for good things. You know, during his NFL career, no doubt about it, he's an all-time great, Super Bowl champion. Was beloved for his gunslinging, no holds bar style. But he also had a dark side that the media covered up. Favre suffered from substance abuse issues, which the media covered up. Not to say that he should be demonized for that, but the media, picks and chooses who they choose to demonize for excesses. Daryl Strawberry. Also, Brett Favre was involved, you might recall, in a sexting and sexual harassment scandal where he was supposedly sending nude pics of himself, including pictures of his privates, unsolicited to a woman. I think it was a reporter, right? If I remember correctly, I think it was a reporter. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong in that one. The media pretty much stayed away from that story, right? Then there were some other things going on with Brett Favre over the years that the media chose to ignore. Even the fact that supposedly he was stealing money or skimming money from a charity that is in his name that's supposed to send money to children who are cancer victims, which I think is the worst thing that he's accused of. But the big enchilada, of course, in recent years has been his involvement with many other greedy-ass Mississippi businessmen and former politicians, like one of the former governors, who all allegedly conspired to steal $80 million in funding, which is supposed to go to TANF, which, of course, sends funds to the poorest people in the state of Mississippi as far as providing for food. Now, I'm not talking about the grown-ass people, even though they need help. No matter how you want to spin it, Brett Favre stole money that would have helped to feed the poorest kids in Mississippi. I don't give a fuck how you feel about anything politically. This ain't a race issue. It's a morals issue. And what Brett Favre did, I don't give a fuck what you say. It was fucking reprehensible. And I'll never forgive this bastard for doing that. So last year, at a hearing, congressional hearing, to elicit sympathy, now all of a sudden Brett Favre wants to say that he has Parkinson's disease, right? So in a recent interview with Sage Steele, he talks about how his Parkinson's symptoms have progressed rapidly. Keep in mind, Brett Favre was only about 55 years old.
What scares you the most about this disease?
What symptoms have sort of arisen here lately is like I have a hard time swallowing. There's times where I think I'm choking. It's sort of scary because they can't fix that. I try not to think about it. I try to just focus on getting after the day. But there are often times there during the day, maybe at night, when I can decompress, and I think I'm progressing a little bit, because the progression, as I understand it, my doctor said, think about it this way. You see someone you haven't seen in 20 years. They look like they haven't aged a bit. You tell them, hey, you look great. Then you see someone you haven't seen in 3 years and you don't recognize them. The disease is that way. There's no way to predict who is going to progress faster than others. We all age differently. I constantly think about, even though I know I shouldn't, am I going to be the one that ages quicker? Is the disease going to eventually dominate me, where I think right now I'm dominating the disease? I wake up every day and think, did I progress 2%, or am I staying the same? Am I looking into this progression more than I should? Should I focus? That all those thoughts go through my mind.
Now, let me say this before I go forward. I'm one of the most empathetic human beings that you will ever encounter. Every time someone, famous, infamous for the most part, passes from the scene, I'll give a tribute to them in my community post, whether it's a popular person or not. Unless it's somebody just did something absolutely horrific, then, I fucked up. But I feel empathy on a scale sometimes to the point where it pains me. That's what separates us from animals to a certain extent. Although animals can feel a certain level of empathy, but they still are generally dominated by their instincts. And while people might say people should feel nothing but empathy for Brett Favre right now because of his Parkinson's battle, right? Where's that empathy from Favre and his cohorts for the people who they harm? The worst thing, even worse, like I just mentioned, was this guy skimmed money from charities, events, charity events that he held that was supposed to go to research for kids with cancer. He skimmed money from that, man. I can only feel but so much empathy, man. And I gotta keep it a buck. There have been situations where former athletes have suffered from CTE. It's been proven that they had CTE, and a lot of them had violent outbursts, right? And we don't want to hear that they had CTE. We know that it explains why they did what they did and why they changed into monsters, but the actions are still there. So, if you're going to be like that, then be like that for everybody. Let's feel empathy for Junior Seau and Dave Durrison, who all at the end of their lives were confused and scared and irrational in their thinking. Don't just feel that way for Brett Favre or Chris Benoit, who we all know what Chris Benoit did, but Chris Benoit still has all these legion of fans who want to explain away why they still love him, even though we know what he did at the end. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Chris Benoit strangled his own son to death. But getting back to Brett Favre, man, some people even say that what's going on with him is karma. It's karma. I don't know. It could be. It could be. It could very well be karma. But at the end of the day, while the media may choose not to judge you, while the court system chooses to give you passes and many of your cohorts, maybe there is a higher power that judged you and are making you suffer for what you did. I'm sorry. Maybe that's just what happened. I don't wish him any ill will because it's not my nature to do so. But it's hard. It's hard to feel empathy, man. It's hard. Thieves, I really have no empathy for. Very little. Very, very little. And Sage still ain't shit either, you know what I'm saying? So we all know about Sage Steele. It's the same chick that let somebody, pat her on the head and grab her hair on TV or whatever. Whatever, man. I don't have time for that for her. Yeah, that's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you guys think.